Hello, welcome back to episode 2 on my tutorial series. In this episode, I will be showing you how to use the movement keys and the mouse buttons. Now, if you're just coming to this video for the first time, I will show you how to reopen your world. But if you are watching from a previous video and just following along with the series, then you don't have to listen to this part whatsoever. Again, when you launch the game, this is the screen you'll see, and you'll want to left click on this button. Then it'll open up this screen, and to open up your world, you can either click on your world and click on Play Selected World, or just press on this little button right here, and that will open up your world for you. Now, when you first pop into a world, you'll see a little pop-up come onto your screen right about here. This will tell you what keys to press to move around in the game. And those keys are W, A, S, and D. I believe it'll also tell you about spacebar, which is how you jump. W moves you forward, A moves you to the left, D moves you to the right, and S moves you backwards. You'll also see that I'm moving my mouse around, and that turns your character around. You can move it away from you to move up, and towards you to move down. Next button I'm going to show you is your inventory button. Inventory is opened by pressing E. When you open up your inventory in creative mode, it will look like so, where you have access to every single block in the game, along with a search item button, which allows you to type in anything. Let's say you want to search up log. It'll show you every type of log that you can build with. If you open up your inventory in survival by pressing E once again, this is how it'll look. You'll have access to your armor slots, your offhand slot, a crafting grid, the recipe book, and a total of 27 slots of inventory here, and 9 slots in your hotbar. To close out of these menus, you press on E again, or you press on the escape key. Both will do the same thing, and it'll just exit you out of your inventory. Now, inside your creative inventory, you have access to all your blocks. So let's say you want to build a house. You'd left click on items that you want to build your house with and bring them into your inventory by left clicking on the block and dragging it into your inventory. Let's say I want to have a birch door. I take that into my inventory. Now, there's a lot more to this page because of this bar right here. That is your scroll bar. You can either click and hold and drag it down, which will drag you through the list of items, or just hold your mouse over this area and use your scroll wheel. Moving it away from you moves you up the list, and moving it towards you moves you down that list. So I'm going to grab a block of netherite. Now, you already know how to walk around, how to jump, but you don't know how to place blocks. To place a block, you are going to click on this button. This is your right click. Clicking right click places down a block in the direction that your cursor, this little thingy on the middle of the screen, is facing. You know that the cursor is facing a block because it'll have this little outline around it. This outline tells you you're looking at this block. You can either place things on it, or by pressing left click, break things on that block. So let's build a house. Now to switch to any of the other things down in your hotbar down here, you can either press on the number of the slot on your hotbar. So 1 would be the oak, 2 would be the next one, 3, 4, 5, and so on all the way to 9. 0 does not do anything, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 are all the slots in your inventory. You can also use the scroll wheel right here to quickly go right through, but if you want precision, you can go between different blocks. You don't have to click them all in order, you can just go straight to them. Once you're done your house, we'll move on to the next thing. The next buttons that I'm going to talk about are the Shift key and the Control key. Shift makes it so that your character crouches down, like so. And you can hold it down to crouch indefinitely, or not hold it down at all to be regularly standing. And I'll talk about some settings in a moment that are customizable with these two buttons. Now, pressing Control doesn't appear to do anything. That is until you press W. Now you can see my FOV got a lot bigger there, and I'm walking a lot faster than if I was just walking normally. This is because that is your sprint key. Holding it down will cause you to sprint towards things. You can jump. You can also press down, quickly double-click your W key to also activate your sprint. If you wanted to sprint in a direction really fast, you can combine the double tap with jumping, and jumping will give you an extra boost of speed. As long as there's not any blocks in your way that you can hit, you'll keep the momentum that your player is moving with, and you'll go extremely fast. The second you touch a block, as I did so there, all your momentum suddenly will stop. And if you tried to jump up over it, you'd have to reactivate your sprint. So if you're getting chased by something, make sure to jump when you get to blocks, or else you'll accidentally hit said block, and then that thing could catch up to you, and you don't want it to be catching up to you. Now I'm going to talk about some extra settings that should help you with these three keys. To open up your options and settings menu, you press on the escape button here, and you move your mouse to hover over options. Once you left click on that, it'll open up this area, and you can left click on accessibility settings to open up some helpful settings. Ignore all of these settings here. The only ones we need to care about are sprint, sneak, auto jump, and show subtitles. Whenever you first launch Minecraft, auto jump will be turned on. What this does is it basically, when you're running towards a block, it will automatically jump you up on top of that block so that you don't have to press your space bar every time you're about to jump up onto something. So what this can mean is if you're running, it will jump you up onto that block. It can get annoying at times because you'll walk up to a block, but you're not going to jump up onto said block. You're just walking up next to it, and then it automatically jumps you up onto the block. And if you don't want that to happen, then I suggest turning off auto jump, and you can do so by pressing escape, go to options, go to accessibility settings, and clicking it off. Now, the sneak and sprint buttons here basically allow you to make it so that instead of holding down the shift key or control key, you can just press it once and you automatically go into that sprinting or sneaking mode. I recommend that when starting off, you have both of these on toggle. Having both of these on toggle means that you don't have to hold it down as much, and you can just click it once and you'll go sprinting really fast, or you'll sneak continuously without having to have your fingers get tired by holding down the key. For me, however, I will have them on hold and auto jump will be off, because these buttons can be annoying at times. Now the next thing is show subtitles. When you have subtitles turned on, it will activate this little indicator in the bottom right there that tells you where it is, what it is, not how it is, and not why it is, but it tells you where it is and what it is. So if there was a skeleton, you'd hear skeleton rattles when it walks around. For players, it specifically just says footsteps. And now I'm going to talk about 4 distinct buttons that each have their own functions. Those buttons are F1, F2, F3, and F5. Remember at the beginning of this where I pressed on a button and it changed my perspective like so? That is F5. F5 allows you to, when pressed, go from first person to third person back to third person front. Third person front is good for talking with your audience. If you're making a video, you can go to third person front. Now you're chatting with the audience. And to go back to first person, you just press on F5 once again, and there you are, first person. Now, F1 and F2 are great for taking pictures. Because let's say I want to take a picture of my house here, but I don't have a good shot from where I am standing down here. I can double click on space to go into fly mode, press F1 to remove all my hotbar and items and all that, and then get a great shot on my house and press on F2. F2 takes a screenshot, and if you press on F1 again, it reopens things, and you can go down to here, click on this, and it'll open up your screenshot on your computer. And you can save that somewhere, or just leave it as it is. Now, up next is F3. F3 is a very complex button. When you press F3, it will open up this menu. This has a lot of stuff, but the most important things are up here, your FPS, which is your entities in your current area, your current coordinates in the world, your current chunk coordinates, which direction you're facing, the biome you're in, and to turn off F3, you just press on it again. What I explained there was only for PCs. So anything non-iOS Apple, that is how you open them. You just press on the key and that's how you open them. With anything that is Apple owned, so Mac, Mac Pro, all those things, you have to press down your function key, which is this button right here, and you have to hold that down and then press on each of those buttons. Doing so will then open it up on that device. But if you're on just a PC, which is anything non-Apple, you just press on the button and it works. Now I have 4 more keys to talk about. Those keys are Q, F, T, and L. Well, I misclicked on L, so let's start off with L. L opens up your advancements menu. And this is all the advancements you can collect throughout just playing through the game. When you complete an advancement, it doesn't give you anything except for experience, and you can brag to your friends that you now have that advancement. Like this one, Adventuring Time. Discover every biome. There's 53 of them. Now, the next button I'm going to play around with is T. T, when you press on it, opens up your chat menu, which is a little bar down here, which is being blocked off by the camera. Let's say you want to type in hello. You type it into your keyboard, and then you press enter, and it should show up right down here in this corner, which is currently being blocked. If other people start chatting, that thing will be pushed up the chat until eventually it reaches the top of the chat. And you can only have a specific number of lines in the chat, and there's my message, Pro Gamer Time. Now you can also scroll through the chat bar, and to do that you just scroll on your scroll wheel. To close out of the chat, you can either press enter when there's nothing down there, or press escape, and that will just close down the menu. The next button I'll show you is Q. When pressing Q, it will drop any held items, and you can just walk up and pick up the item. Now let's say you have 2 items in that slot. If you press Q, it drops down one of those items. If you press Q again, it drops down the second item. And if you want to give something to another player, you drop the item down, and then the player would walk up and grab it. You can also go straight into your inventory, click on the item you want to drop, and just go outside your inventory, and that will drop down both items for your friend to pick up. And the final button that I'm going to talk about is your F key. F just switches what's held in your hand down here into your offhand down here. It will swap down into your offhand when you press F. So if you're holding something in your hand, you press F, it swaps it into that spot, and you can use it to place blocks or use items. So it's helpful if you want to, let's say you're going caving, you want to hold a torch, you scroll over to your torch, press F, and it will put it into that slot. Or in your inventory, you can pick on the item, drag it up here, and place it into your offhand. More of these will be explained later or recovered later when I talk about combat. Combat will be an exciting video. Thank you for watching this episode of the series. If you like what you see, you can give it a like down below, comment your thoughts. Maybe you can even give me a subscriber. It'd be very helpful, but you don't have to. Goodbye.